So when you're doing late 58s and 59s, you haven't got the throttle open as long, you don't use as much fuel, and I would think that Jason Bright is genuinely the only guy who can use the car up properly.
All right, so as they come around this main straightaway here, let's take you through this positioning. So James Courtney leads the race. He will more than likely have to stop. Fabian Coulthard second. He will more than likely have to stop for fuel. David Reynolds, situation exactly the same. Jason Bright could well and truly go the distance with the fuel that he's got left in the tank. So that's the scenario at the front. There's still some racing and fighting for positions to go on mid-pack and further back.
And there'll be some bluing in the garages about the Jamie Whincup, Jason Bargwanna issue.
I think there'll be a few things that are debated after this one. I still think it was unacceptably messy early on with the whole business of cars coming out of the pit lane and the blend line and who had right of way and who didn't.
So Bright up to third. He just got Dave Reynolds under brakes. He's got good pace. Turn 8. He's got good pace.
This will be welcome relief for everybody at Team BOC at Brad Jones Racing. It's been tough for those guys in the recent past, and I know that Jason Richards will be at home watching the broadcast. It was great to see him out at the recent V8 Supercar launch and test day at Eastern Creek a couple of weeks back. And these guys need a win. They've worked hard. In fact, for a while there last year, Phil Keed wasn't going to shave until we started to see a result, and fortunately gave that plan away, cleaned himself up.
Like a caveman.
Actually, as soon as he shaved, he might be on for a win here. He's beginning to look like the caveman.
And these guys are also in good shape because Rick Kelly and Greg Murphy behind Steve Johnson there.
Car 6, Will Davis, and black flag pit lane drive-through penalty for shortcutting the circuit and then an unsafe re-entry onto the track, as predicted.
Relatively speaking, this little group here, Stephen Johnson's the worst place for fuel. Rick Kelly can more than likely go to the end, and Stevie Johnson used a lot up. He put a lot of energy into having that battle with Jason Bright. Now, Stephen was last in on lap 20.
Yeah, so he's actually worse off for fuel than Courtney.
Yeah. Well, this is exciting stuff. It will be a nail-biting finish. Well, James Courtney leads this race from Fabian Coulthard. But you'd have to say that the way this strategy game is panning out and the fuel situation is panning out, Jason Bright, who's in third spot there with the lights on, is on target for his first race win in 5 years in the V8 Supercar Championship. I'll tell you another name who may well pop up and end up on the podium here is Greg Murphy.
Yep.
Because Courtney, Coulthard, Reynolds, Webb and Johnson, they're out of the top 7, will more than likely have to stop, leaving Jason Bright and then Greg Murphy on the road.
They've also just given Jason Bright an instruction on fuel conservation as well, so he's still got to manage it. They've gone to fuel position 3 on that car.
Yeah, he does, Neil. I've done a bit of a scan of the pit lane to see who's where. Now, these guys are all holding their cars very close to the chest, but I can tell you there ain't many fingernails left down here, including Brad Jones, and I reckon he's probably a lap better off than most. HRT, they reckon there'll be no burnouts if they win this race, so there's not much left there. Dick Johnson thinks maybe a little bit of fuel left there. They might be okay. Webby's guys are panicking, so, mate, the last couple of laps will be crackers.
So it's interesting then, what you're saying to me, Mark Larkham, is that's a positional move for now second in the race. Fabian Coulthard stepping aside for Jason Bright. That as the Holden Racing team, they think they can get to the end with Courtney. Is that the... Or they're just not saying, I'm not going to put you on the spot like that.
No, not so much that. No, they're very marginal, Neil. They're very marginal at best. They won't tell you numbers, but they're very marginal. So I reckon they're in a bit of trouble.
I think so.
We can tell by the lap speed because They're almost a second a lap slower at this point of the race than Jason Bright anyway. So even if they do stay out and they're able to limp that car home, your lap speed will be so deficient against a Jason Bright.
And it's a great feeling when all of a sudden you can feel a race coming to you. When you're Jason Bright and you've got good car pace, you're in a slightly better position with your strategy, and you're in the rhythm with the car and the racetrack. It's just great to be the hunter. And that's what he's doing at the moment, and he'll be enjoying every second of it.
And there's the other one, because we think Greg Murphy in the Pepsi Max car is also well positioned.
The other one is Michael Caruso. Because Caruso is last in on lap 24, so he's better positioned than all of them, but he's a little bit further down the list.
Yeah, he got belted around pretty early in the race, and they've been conserving fuel for him, and they said they'll let him off the leash when we get a bit further down the road.
Just see there Fabien Coulthard pointing to say it was okay. He actually instructed him to go down the inside. So good, responsible stuff from Fabien. Doesn't want to get involved in the battle, and all the guys looking on. There's the team owner, Brad Jones, up in the top left of your screen.
And the gentleman at the back right-hand corner, who's obscured a little, is Dave Richards, and that's Jason's dad, who's a member of the crew. So the entire V8 Supercar community wishing Jason and his family well in his recovery, and we want to get him back out on that racetrack again soon.
So Jason Bright, 2 seconds behind James Courtney. This will be a pretty lively battle because these guys have got good speed. Whincup and Alex Davison. And this is Jamie. Have a look at this. He's been really good down into turn 11. I was critical of Alex being a bit too gentlemanly yesterday. Let's see what he does now. A little bit too gentlemanly.
Overshot down at turn 11 again. He's been having some troubles down there. He is currently 11th.
So Whincup presses up to 9th.
And Bright started this lap 2 seconds behind James Courtney. He's now 1.3 seconds behind Courtney. Those lights are coming at the race leader. Your series champion is being hunted down by Jason Bright in the BOC Commodore. As he crosses the line, it's 1.3 seconds.
So regardless of the fuel situation, it's a good recovery for Courtney as well after a really tough day yesterday. And we had a bit of fun with it, but it certainly won't be funny when you're at the Toll Holden racing team or in James's racing suit. But to start day 2 in a negative points position, it's quite bizarre. So even if they end up having to grab some fuel here, at least they're demonstrating that they've got some good balance and good car pace when it matters. So this is the onboard with Paul Dumbrell down at turn 11 from a lap back.
Yeah, so regardless of the fuel situation, like you're saying here for James Courtney, they've flexed a bit of muscle.
Think about your bars, mate. Think about your bars.
They've shown a bit of strength. With car number 1, they've dusted themselves off after the disaster of yesterday. Rapidly put it behind them. Larko, what do you got?
Oh, well, look, I'm going to grab Brad Jones here. Hey, Bradley, there's a lot of liars and thieves on this pit lane, although it's got a lot better since Crompton and Scaife retired.
Yeah.
So I tried to find someone I could trust and not give us some crap. Mate, tell us, really, look down the barrel of that camera, where are you on fuel?
I wish I knew. No, I think we're going to be okay. It's pretty tight, and we've just got him to richen up a little bit to try and go with James. So we're pretty comfortable we can get there, and I think, you know, we just need to get by him.
I'm just getting the wallet out of your back pocket, mate.
There's nothing there. We'll see what happens.
I wish I knew. What a liar. He knows exactly. He's got the number in front of him on the laptop.
What a lightweight answer that was.
Used car dealer. He's not a liar.
You're right about that, Matt.
It'd be a remarkable job if Courtney and this Holden racing team could stay out there and hold on. You just don't know the numbers.
Yeah, we're still a little way from home, but if they've managed to do that, I don't know how they've done it, but at the moment they're still maintaining good pace.
Garth Tander's race came to an end on lap 1. He was involved in that massive shunt, triggered off by Tony D'Alberto, and Garth and Tim Slade both had the long walk back, didn't even complete a lap.
Mate, that's good, just keep it up. Bridie's had to work pretty hard to get to where he is, so his tyres might be starting to slow up.
So James in on lap 21 for fuel and tyres. On the regular maths gets you to lap 39. We're on lap 37. Whoa, big slide. He's pushing hard. He might be using them a bit too hard.
Yeah.
And now we know that when James came in on 21, he's still got 4 more laps away under the safety car where the fuel consumption is reduced. Don't know, I can't give you a number on that, but let's even speculate that it's, half or 2/3. I still can't see how you can get another 4 laps out of it. I just don't believe that that's possible.
And James is trying pretty hard too, because he's sideways on the exits. We saw both of them coming out of turn 6 and 7. Sideways, we just saw them coming out of the left-hander in the infield at turn 14, and both of them had the rear tyres lit up. So just take real notice.
So I reckon that if you halve the fuel consumption and said under the safety car he was burning 2 litres a lap, you'd save 8 litres, which will get you another 2 laps to lap 41. It doesn't get you to lap 43.
Neil, might be worth keeping an eye on Michael Caruso too. His Gary Rogers Motorsport team have confirmed that he's fine for fuel, so he's in the mix as well.
Yeah, he's no drama. Lap 24 was the last time he came in, so he'll get there.
Yes, so we were talking.
Here's another element that we need to just contemplate here, that it's right on the cusp as to whether it genuinely goes for 43 laps or the time certainty. Now, 1 lap could make a huge difference in this argument. There's 4 litres of fuel, and we're arguing over the last little bit here.
Well, at last check on the watch,
and there's a 20-second window on this.
And Neil, to add to what you were just saying, if you want to grab your calculator and get it out, I was looking over Mark Dutton's shoulder when Jamie Whincup was driving his safety car laps, and he was using on my calcs exactly 40% of his fuel he was doing on a fast lap on his safety car lap. So do a little rewind, a couple of bits of maths, see what you come up with there.
Well, it's 4.1 litres a lap. So effectively 1.6 litres.
Yeah, so my 2 might be a little bit too hungry. So, I mean, if James was getting around 1.6 litres and doing what Jamie Whincup was doing, and this does run 1 lap shorter, then
he gets away with it.
In which case, if you're Jason Bright, right now you hang everything out.
So it's all or nothing now, because they just don't know how close it's going to be. Jason Bright cannot sit there and wait for James Courtney to dive into pit lane to fill up on fuel. He's going, Jason Bright and James Courtney, for a historic win here. Brad Jones Racing never won a race. Courtney looking for his first race win at the Holden race team.
Jason's going to have to nurse this rear tyre, because fuel mightn't end up being his biggest problem if he tears the rears off it.
It was 2 sideways there out of 19. He can't do that. We're saying there's only 5 laps to go. But 5 laps.
He's obviously very strong on the brakes at 8 and 11.
But he's sliding it wildly, even off the last corner then for Jason. It was a huge oversteer with his foot jammed in the throttle. Craig Wilson from Walkinshaw Racing. And there's the other bunker. Team BOC. There's radios alive further down the queue saying we can get podiums when these guys run out of fuel, is the phraseology. So, true to form, your competitors give you no credit at all. Now let's have a look down here. Bottom at turn 8. He's in the draft.
Don't do it so early. You've got to be very careful not to go too early with this.
And you've got to be careful not to kill the rear tyre under brake by hopping it in there and skating it on the rears, exciting the rear tyre, superheating it. Obviously, they're already fragile.
So he is strong. Scott Sinclair said to James Courtney before, he's strong at 8 and 11, meaning those 2 braking areas. but don't use it up yet. You've got to get there and then make a good professional pass. And he's got some speed on him. He's giving him a little love tap at turn